Hey friends, so I just got done with doing my morning stretches and calisthenic exercises. Today was my first day doing that after leaving the gym. Not that there was anything wrong with the gym industry, just obviously, y'all know, transitions within life. Now, let's get to the point of the video for today. Today is a lesson in, I guess, like a self affirmation and coming to the understanding that it is important to be able to generate happiness within yourself. And I say this as a being who is always an advocate for external forces, and then I forget to fill my internal cup as well. And I say this because there's a few different things that I have noticed while doing my TPE journaling and reviewing it over the last almost 90 days, because I think today is day 81. One, I am a cishet presenting Black gay man, okay? And externally I see that. Internally though, since I am spiritual, I do more so identify as non-binary. However, to me it doesn't really matter how folks interpret me in terms of acknowledging me as he, they, or she. It is what it is. I just will always exude, or again present, they, them, or androgynous mask, or I guess like mask androgynous. Okay, so I had to come to terms with that. Two, I am also attracted to beings across the entire spectrum, but I typically go for male presenting or mask presenting beings. So again, in terms of presentation and how beings perceive me, I am comfortable with admitting that online and in person. But folks, like, if they want to acknowledge me or interpret my sexuality, because the first part was gender, the second part is sexuality, gay, pan, whatever case may be, but just know those are the routes that I typically stay on. Doesn't mean I don't stray off of them. It's just those are the paths that I typically stay on. And then I also had to get comfortable with internally being attracted not only to those things or acknowledging and accepting those things, but I also had to accept the fact that I see beauty across the entire color spectrum. Okay. And for a very long time, I struggled with that because I always felt like, one, I do know presentation wise, or again, external interpretation of myself, Delante, Leo, Julio, however you interpret me, most folks would think that I only found attraction in cishet white men. Though I love me some white men, not gonna lie, like there's nothing to hide about that. But oh my God, Latino men, Asian men, Australian men, African, Pacific Islanders, Caribbean, and European men. I'm sorry, but I love men. However, what folks have to understand is I'm now at the point, I won't say age, just at the point where I guess for lack of better words or phrases, the fucks that I have given have flown out the window. And I know this because, one, I also have seen that with me being a people's pleaser, it has done nothing but hold me back. I won't necessarily say has destroyed or tarnished my image or anything of that nature, thank goodness, but it just has gotten me nowhere. And then I also have found too that it also hasn't allowed me to penetrate or be penetrated. Okay, and I don't necessarily mean that in a sexual sense, though it can be taken that way, because the lessons that I give or speak about can be applied in multiple different ways. Sorry, I'm a little itchy because I had just again done my floor exercises and I have carpet. So though my carpets are clean, don't do your girl, okay? Your boy keeps his apartment clean. uh but yeah, it has not allowed me to like romantically penetrate anybody, and then it hasn't allowed for anyone to psychologically penetrate me because I am such an psychoactive being and a psychoactive being. Anyway, so I say all of this to say, because also externally, society has always viewed me as a positive being, even though sometimes they can see my optimism had shifted into neutralism or pessimism. But I typically would always smile, dance, try and converse with humanity, even when I didn't necessarily feel like engaging. But that's because I'm okay with being alone, due to the simple fact that I am not lonely. Lonely and being alone are two different things. For me, I'm alone because, as I always say, I am a soloist. So I typically navigate life, creating it on my own, rather than having a panel or a council or a group to help me co-create outside of when we go out into the universe, into the real world. There are people amongst my path that I will see, i.e., like a bus driver, the grocery store employee, the gym staff, so on and so forth, rather than, again, having like the friends and the family and the multiple sexual or romantic partners. But yeah, just remember, it's okay to, oh, sorry, to get back to that, but yes, but I'm not lonely, because I also know that those people, even though they're not with me, they're always there at a specific given point of time and space. Okay, so just remember, it's important to be able to generate happiness on your own, because if you are constantly relying on others to generate that happiness for you, you are putting expectations on others where your standards should be applied, which is shifting the boundaries, and they're getting blurred. Okay, because remember, in my last video I talked about there's a difference between boundary standards and expectations. All right, the energy drink has started to wear off, so I'm gonna go shower, shave my face, and get ready for whatever my afternoon entails. All right, bye.